Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the tech breakdown on the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas. In this video we're going to show you how to use the gauge cluster screen, we're going to show you how to use the 12-inch center touchscreen, we're going to pair up an iPhone, use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, test out the voice controls, and try to answer any questions you might have about the Atlas's systems. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a quick look at it. This is the 2024 Peak Edition in SE trim, so it's looking cool. It's some all-terrain tires, black wheels, this cool color package. Overall, it's got a little bit of character, even if it doesn't quite have the off-roading chops that some of its competitors might have. I overall think that's okay, but you will have to decide if it's right for you. If you do want to see more on the Atlas, check the link below. We've got a dedicated fuel economy test. We've got a review of both the 6-speaker sound system and the Harman Kardon sound systems. Those will all be linked below, and you can see our full review there as well. In front of us, we have the 10.3-inch digital cockpit gauge cluster. It's a fully digital screen, nice resolution. You can see in this Peak Edition, we get a special configuration, and that's supposed to be showing us our elevation above sea level, but it only worked for about 5 minutes when I had the car delivered to me. Other than that, for a while it showed dashes, and now it just shows nothing in meters. So that doesn't seem to be operating properly here after, how many miles do we have on the car? 2,500 miles. And but the screen is pretty configurable. So before we even go through the different sections, I want to show you that you can press this view button on the steering wheel and see entirely different gauge configurations. You're still getting most of the same information depending on which screen you're on. It just shows it to you in many different ways. So you can kind of prefer how you like to look at it. I've gone between this one with the Peak Edition, it's kind of cool, and then this one if I want a little bit more of a straightforward readout. And I think you're going to get this in most of the Atlases. So we'll go through this one. You can see on the top left I've got outside temperature, top right clock. Bottom left you see distance to empty as well as a small fuel gauge. And then bottom right we have our odometer. But if the cruise control is on, then you get the cruise control set speed. Then the left and right bits are customizable. You do that with these buttons on the steering wheel right here. You can click on the left, and then that changes the left screen. You can go back and you can click on the right, and that changes the right screen. It's a very straightforward readout. And then actually the center screen is configurable as well. So you use the up and down buttons, you get digital speed, driving data, a nothing screen, date and time, and that is it. And then if you press on the left, you can choose from all sorts of things, including, starting at the top, no display, current fuel economy, average fuel economy over time, gear selected, fuel tank display. So this will show you a little bit more detailed. It's actually just essentially showing you the exact same thing you see right below. There's a lot of redundancy in this system, which isn't the end of the world. Assist systems, so your adaptive cruise control or lane keeping assists there. Operating temperatures, including your oil and coolant. Engine stop, start, stop, and steering angle. It's kind of interesting there. And then there's a settings screen that you can dive into and choose which things you want to even be included in that list. So it looks like we can also add distance and time, and average speed, navigation, audio, telephone, speed, time, and acceleration efficiency, compass, and destination infill. All sorts of different screens. And the cool thing that Volkswagen does is it gives you the ability to see the same things on the right screen as well. I think that's pretty cool. So what I'm actually going to do, make this very goofy for the next person who gets it, we're going to do speed, speed, speed. You're getting speed on 4 different readouts here, because not only will we have digital speed across all 3, but you also got an analog style speedometer on the right side and an analog style tachometer on the left. Pretty cool, pretty funny, but I like that Volkswagen doesn't restrict you like we saw in some of the Toyotas we've seen recently, where you can only have certain information in certain parts of the screen. I also appreciate that Volkswagen doesn't have a bunch of settings buried into the digital gauge cluster screen here. You do it all from the center touchscreen. Like I said, a 12-inch screen here for 2024, and admittedly, it does have a bit of a learning curve. You have to get used to how a lot of it works. It tries to be a smart asset to your daily driving, but because there are a lot of capabilities with the system, it requires more of a learning curve, and you might get frustrated with it if you simply dive in. So I highly recommend spend time in your driveway, learn the system, get comfortable with it, and you will enjoy it more. No sort of physical controls necessarily, depending on how you look at it, for climate and volume. You got these haptic touch controls that you can adjust. And then you've got the same thing for the temperature there. All climate is done right here. You can have either classic climate controls or smart climate. So for example, do you have cold feet? You can press that button and your relationship issues will be resolved. Going back kind of to the home screen here, if you will. This is really the most of the home screen, I believe. If you press home, well, it kind of goes back and forth, I guess. This is kind of a main layout. Now, interestingly, even with this SE model that does not have navigation, it still says starting navigation, but if you click on this, it says this vehicle is not equipped with navigation. But these tiles are configurable, so I can hold down on this, and I can choose, oh, well, instead just give me radio and media. Probably something Volkswagen should have done at the beginning. And then if we click on this, it'll bring up our media. Let's say open up the radio and go back home. Then you can see our media is showing right there, the radio station that we're listening to. In the front right, this tile, swipeable information that we can choose from, and then some quick toggles as well. But all of these are customizable. If I didn't want redundant radio and media controls, hold that and be, oh, well, what's something else I'd use regularly? I'm going to use Android Auto regularly, so let's just throw that up right there. And then, then I can quickly click and get to my phone projection. And you might notice when I bring my hand away, the screen changes a little bit. That's because there's a proximity sensor, and as I reach my hand up, it shows me more information. I could even use my hand to swipe back and forth from these screens without even touching it. So that's pretty interesting. Might be a way of keeping a few fewer fingerprints on there. Over on the right, you do get this persistent screen that's always giving you your clock, a little globe, I suppose, for notifications there, and a home button, kind of akin to maybe something like your phone's home button. Let's go over to the right. You see more customizable tiles, and this is what I mean, that if you own this vehicle, you're really going to want to customize and choose which tiles you want to see most regularly. But in order to get to all the main information, who do I have calling me? Anyway, this is going to be your main kind of app screen where you get to all of the different vehicle applications. You can see they're nicely tiled out. And I should also point out that these colors are customizable. Right now they're synced up to drive mode, so if I reach down at the bottom and press mode and choose eco, you can see all of the colors change, both around the vehicle and the ambient lighting and in the infotainment screen. It's kind of cool that they're all coordinated there. I could also go to sport and get red, or I could individually customize these colors going to vehicle and then interior, ambient lighting, and then you can choose from 4 different areas: the contours, doors, footwells, and surfaces. I think the screen, those are for brightnesses. The color all has to be done right here. That's pretty cool. Okay, going back to the main app screen now, telephone. This is going to be where, if your phone is connected via Bluetooth, you can access your contacts, your recent calls, and dial a number. However, if you do have phone projection up like I do, it's probably not going to give you all of the information, because I expect you to do that through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Moving into radio and media, that's where you're going to see your different FM stations. You can scroll through, it's got a nice convenient list for all the different FM and AM stations, and then let's go over to Sirius XM, and then you can see, let's pick a music station, rock. Let's go to the bridge, and then you slide over from the right to get your now playing screen. You can see the ability to play, pause, move, go to different stations, go to live, etc., or you can favorite it. Nice, very straightforward, big, easy to press buttons. Nice contrast to the screen as well, so it's very easy to see the delineations. Under settings, you can manage a few of your different inputs and turn on or off HD radio, etc. Let's go back home, and then we get to our navigation screen, which unfortunately I cannot show you because we don't have nav built in. Under vehicle, kind of breaks up the different vehicle settings between exterior and interior. Exterior seems to be the default, so let's go under exterior lights. Duration of exit lighting, so as you get out and close the vehicle, how long do you want the lights to stay on out there? Same thing with entry lighting. As you walk up, how long do you want the lights to stay on? Under tires, you can set a speed warning if you're equipping the vehicle with winter tires that cannot be traveled on as quickly as, or I should say as fast as your standard tires. You can have a warning come on there. Headlights. Dynamic cornering light, you can turn on or off. This makes it so the headlights swivel as you're driving and light up where you're turning. Turn on time. I assume this is for the automatic headlights. How dark do you want it to be at night before those automatic lights come on? Automatic headlight during rain, that's nice to have on. And convenience turn signals. That's going to make it so if you tap signal, you get 3 clicks as opposed to just 1. Swiping over, we go over to the back of the car. Easy open. This is going to make it so you can walk up and kick your foot under the lift gate and it'll open for you automatically. And under brakes, the ESC system. So if you wanted to turn stability control off, you could do that from there. Interesting that they put it under brakes. Oh, I suppose I never pointed out that you can swipe down from the top of the screen to view your notifications and some quick toggles, including the ability to change the brightness of the screen at night, the ability to turn on or off your stop-start, mute your media, go home, or change the screen to a bright general theme. You can see some white backgrounds as opposed to the black. Back under the vehicle, you go to window. You can turn on or off your convenience opening, which is the ability to hold the unlock button on your key fob and open the windows. That's nice to have. Keep the vehicle cool. Under central locking, you have the ability to turn on or off your keyless access. If you want the car to unlock as you walk up to it, you can turn that on. It's pretty nice. Easy open, we saw that earlier. Interesting that there's no ability to automatically lock the vehicle as you walk away. Unlock doors. All doors, though, I like that to be able to walk up and simply put your hand on the handle, have all the doors unlock. Swiping over to interior, now we see the ability to adjust settings in the cockpit. Do you want your eco tips on or off? So little tips to pop up on the screen to tell you how to drive more economically. You can disable those there. And you can also reset your driving data. Going back, we saw that ambient lighting control. We have the ability, again, to change your design between bright and dark. Turn on or off the ambient lighting. Adjust if you want the colors to sync up with your drive modes under automatic. Ability to change the color and all the different brightnesses for those 4 zones. Looks like that's all we have for the interior screen, so we can move down here and see status. This tells me that my oil level is good, tire pressures are good, the vehicle doesn't need any sort of service, and gives you the ability to turn on or off your automatic stop-start. Also shows you your distance to empty. If you click on tire pressure, it individually shows you where your tire pressures are set. For oil level, it'll show you your level. I don't know if that's the actual level of oil in the engine or if it's when you need to get it changed, but it actually does seem to be a virtual dipstick, if you will. Then if you click service, you can put the wipers up into service position if you need to change the windshield wiper blades. And it also shows you how long you have until you need an oil change and a general inspection. And conveniently shows you your VIN. Lastly, over on the left under data, you can see how efficiently you've been driving since the start. And not only how efficiently, but also how long you've been driving, for how far, and your average speed and average fuel economy. You can also see that since you reset the long term and since you refueled the vehicle. Heading back home, let's go to, well, skip Android Auto for now. Let's go into sound. It's very straightforward. It's where you're going to get your treble, mid-range, and bass adjustments right there, as well as your front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance, and some volume controls. Going back home, we have a help screen. This is going to try to answer any questions that I don't get for you. And there, admittedly, even the help screen itself is a little bit convoluted, but say, for example, you want help learning about your climate control. You press that and swipe through. It shows you different functionality for how to... Oh, wait, that's just all the different things. Go back. All right, I guess fairly basic information about your climate control. But then you can swipe over and get information about operating, so pinching and zooming, tapping and zooming, using the touch slider. Oh, this is opening via haptic control. Is that why? No? Okay. And then some tips on customizing the screen as well. Coming back, let's get into vehicle settings. I'm not going to go through every single setting, but we'll go through what's important. Under screen, you can adjust the brightness here of the screen. Does this actually change for the daytime? It does as well. All right, so that brightness is different than this brightness slider up here. Interesting. That one's for nighttime. Infotainment system touchscreen tone. If I turn this on, then every time I click things, it makes a little click sound. I have that off. Tone for other buttons. So pressing some other buttons, I guess, are on the cabin. Maybe these ones. Yeah, still gives us a click. I could turn that off there. Display time and standby mode. Standby mode, I assume, is if we hold this. There we go. And it just gives you a clock. Backseat passenger reminder tone. If it thinks there's a passenger back there, it'll let you know. Animation when finger near screen. We showed you that. Hand gestures. So if those hand gestures are annoying you, you can turn those off. Maybe if you're somebody who speaks a lot with your hands, it might be accidentally enabling for you. Heading back, we have our time and date. If you want to manually adjust your time, you can do that, but I recommend simply clicking it on automatic, and then it'll set the time and region for you. Under language, we have the ability to choose between US English, Spanish, and French. More keypad languages. Okay, you can change the keypad languages as well. Under units, it's going to give you the ability to change any of your vehicle's units. Voice operation. This is a little bit interesting. You can choose... Wait, why can't I choose a custom wake word? In the other Volkswagens, I was able to set a custom word. Right now, if I turn this off and say, "Hey, Volkswagen," then the voice commands are going to come up. I'll show you that more later on. I wonder why we can't. Maybe the system's a little bit older. I don't know why that keeps coming down as well. Under Wi-Fi, we have the ability to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot. So if you want to use an internet connection that you pay for monthly for devices inside the car, you can set that up there. Mobile devices, we'll use this later to pair up our iPhone, but you can see which devices are connected to the vehicle via Bluetooth. You can also delete them from here. Restore factory settings. If you go to sell your Volkswagen, you're going to want to use that to clear out all of your personal information. And then down near the bottom, you get the configuration wizard. If you purchase a Volkswagen, then you're probably going to want to go through this wizard to set the vehicle up for your customization. All right, pretty simple setting screen here on the ID4. None of this really down here is really too important. Assist systems, you can turn on or off your various lane keeping and front emergency braking. Most of that you're going to want to have on, but maybe some people might get bothered by the lane keeping system, so you can turn that off there. All right, let's try out the voice controls here. So like I said, there's a few different ways to do it. You can either use the wake word or this button here on the steering wheel. First, let's use the wake word. Hello, Volkswagen. Set the temperature to 60 degrees.
All right.
Hey, Volkswagen. Hello, Volkswagen. What's the weather like tomorrow?
Sorry?
Tune to Sirius XM channel 46.
You can operate the radio and media, telephone, and climate control functions by voice.
Yeah, that's what I just tried to do.
Say, call John's.
Cancel.
You can operate...
Cancel. All right. So it's a pretty basic system. You can't do navigation, obviously, on this SE model. More people are just going to want to hold this button, and then you'll get your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto commands coming up there via voice. Speaking of that, let's take a look at Android Auto. I've got it paired up wirelessly right now with my Pixel 8 Pro. And we can see nearly full screen coming up, but you still get your Volkswagen screen here on the left, and the abilities to get home, see your time, and adjust climate controls. But we've got the 2/3, sort of 1/3 setup deal with Google Maps and your media. If I click here, I get full screen Google Maps. Not the most responsive. I don't know if that's my phone or the car, but you can see there's actually a perceptible delay right there. That's a bit frustrating. Let's go home, bring up our media, and let's see what sort of songs we're getting on the Supermix. I don't know why I'm getting this lag. We'll have to see if the iPhone does that as well. Hit the Supermix, see what we're getting from YouTube Music. Some Korn. All right. That's what your full screen media is going to look like. And then if we go back home, whoops, then you get media on the right, Google Maps on the left. And at any point you can press this home button, you're back to the home Volkswagen screen. Let's pair up our iPhone now. So I'm going to take that on our trusty iPhone SE3, and we're going to go to Settings, scroll down to Mobile Devices, and on our iPhone, I'm going to bring up the settings screen, go to Bluetooth. And I see Charlie's iPhone pop up. I'm going to click on that and choose Apple CarPlay and use Apple CarPlay. And I'm going to accept or continue anything that pops up on both of the screens. This is twice now. It's not wanted to connect. All right, it's having some difficulty, so I'm going to delete my Android device and then pair up. I'm going to try pairing again. No, it really doesn't want to pair to the iPhone for some reason. All right, I'm going to try launching it from the iPhone. From here, I see my VW. I'm going to click on that. And then I get a pair from both devices. Hit yes and yes, allow. Okay, so for some reason it seems like it's working better to start from the phone, because then it pops up says use CarPlay. I'm going to choose CarPlay on the vehicle. And we have Apple CarPlay coming up, looking really nice. It's a tighter resolution than we've seen on CarPlay from a few of the other vehicle models. I'd say it looks better than Android Auto. So we've got the split screen setup with maps and media. Bringing up our full screen Google Maps, can move around. Refresh is still a little laggy. So maybe it is the vehicle and not the car, or not the phone. But no pinch to zoom on Apple. You got to tap to zoom. Okay. Let's go home. Let's bring up our YouTube music, hit the super mix, see what the iPhone's giving us today. Some Young Gravy. iPhone loves to play Young Gravy. So now that the music is playing, you can see on the right we got our media, and the left we have our maps. So there you have it. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, voice commands, infotainment, all that good stuff here on the Volkswagen Atlas. Hopefully you don't have any questions about navigation, since we've got a model that doesn't support it. But if there's anything else I can try to answer for you in the comments, let me know. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.